Good morning. Okay. Possibly I'm the only one that not have uniform today out of the four. ANGKASA tak bagi uniform. ANGKASA have to have one uniform untuk angkasawan. Okay. Anyway, I'm not talking about security as the other three. So that's why I'm not given the opportunity to wear uniform. So I'm talking about more on safety. Security in the sense of public security, but not so much of enforcement. So one thing that I'm going to highlight in this presentation is about the innovation part. Although it's small, but I think this is the things that for the country to move nowadays in the geospatial, the one that's lacking is the innovation part. And I think the theme of this conference is on innovation and future. Otherwise, Malaysia will only be the users all the time. We will always fantasize other people's work and research, yet we do need to have our own local works as well. So today I'm presenting to you something called, a product called Attract, a system called Attract. Is basically ANGKASA tracking, tracing, and trigger. Okay, nothing new. Some of you may be utilizing it already in your personal handphone to track whoever you like or dislike. To ensure that it meets your purpose. So today I'm presenting the one that we have designed in terms of system at ANGKASA. Okay, but before that, let me show you the relevance of why an agency called ANGKASA is interested in having geospatial as part of their research elements. Looking at the current interest where we are heading, so-called the IoT, smart cities, location-based services, the common things in between all of them is the satellite positioning, GNSS. And having that, I mean, it doesn't matter whether we are talking about e-government, we're talking about energy, we're talking about smart mobility. Everything, it needs a way of positioning. And currently, the cheapest and the most available way is GNSS. So, thus, it is proper for an organization that looks after satellites and positioning to have an interest in trying to utilize this technology for the benefits of the humankind. And that's how ANGKASA as an organization came into the perspective of trying to develop, trying to innovate something for utilization of the Malaysians. And another element is that we are just not talking about GPS now, GNSS. There are so many constellations. You're talking about probably Galileo, the European similar to GIS, or GLONASS, which is having there, and the Chinese coming out with the Beidou, which is now possibly about 20 of them is up there. And of course, there are others like the Japanese QZSS and the Indian IRNSS. So many are coming in. So there are so many constellations that's already there. Interestingly, we are at the middle of the whole spectrum of the GNSS, and yet we are not maximizing, optimizing the opportunities. These are all free data. We are talking about geospatial, everybody complains not getting data. We are given plenty of geospatial data through GNSS, and we are not utilizing it well. And that's why we have to see the opportunity of innovating applications here. You see, not many parts of the world have the opportunity to be in that red spot. In the red spot means at one particular time, you will be able to see at least 30 to 50 satellites. I'm talking here, the red here is when you are about 30 degrees especially when you are in the horizon, when you are in the field, there are about 50 GNSS satellites around you. Even with your handphone, you are accurate enough nowadays. So this is the opportunity that we have, that we should be utilizing, because we are right in the middle of that red spot, which means that we are having so many satellites for the benefits of the nations. And another development why we find that this is another way of looking, of utilizing the GNSS, is that everybody, well, they say that by 2020, but I think possibly in Malaysia now, even one person have more than one handphone. Okay? The number of handphones is more than number of Malaysians now. All right? So I presume that possibly one person more than not only one handphone, two handphones, or I don't know. They based on SIM cards or they based on handphone. I'm not too sure. But prediction is that 80% of the population will have access to 3G and 4G by 2020, worldwide. Okay? So that means we have to utilize, and all smartphones now have GNSS chips inside the phone. So this is the way that we are trying to see how we can benefit from this information, which is given free, geospatial information, which is the position, and yet we are also utilizing our own personal device. So why not we utilize it for other purposes, which is basically our safety. I'm just showing one of the problems. Malaysia is going to be an aging society as well, for your information. Just like Japan and Singapore and many other parts of the world, we are going to be an aging society. I think by 2030, if I'm not mistaken, 60% of Malaysians are considered as already an aging society. I don't know why the young generation not having so much kids compared to the old generations. Ni muhasabah sikit. Okay. Not a good development. I'm just taking one example for safety reason. It is estimated that kidnapping around the world have increased by 100% over the past 6 years. Okay? So now, kidnapping, that's why I think you are using and you're looking at viral now, that every time your kid is playing outside, you have the chance of 50% at being kidnapped. Okay? And this is the world survey. So, possibly we'd like to know where they are, where they have been, possibly, okay? Where they should be. Sometimes, due to the environment, due to population's interests, I mean, not only children, but also people that are close to us that we want to monitor. So, are they okay? So, unfortunately, 67% or nearly 7%, 70% get their ransom. So this is not a good development. I'm talking this worldwide. I'm not talking Malaysia. I don't have data for Malaysia. Okay? But this is, so that if the police ask me, I'll say that, no, this is worldwide data. But it's concerned to everybody for the safety. All right? So we need to have this sort of system that at least can see the safety and monitor the or give some confidence to the guidance. So let's introduce the system called Attract. It's just a mobile app. As I said, 80% of you, of our population, will have a handphone, which already got a GPS. Okay? So we'll develop this on a mobile apps for parents, guidance, or any authority that like to monitor somebody or some things. Okay? With some gadgets. And this, geospatial is basically location. We can set up, usually people call it geofencing, but we call it virtual boundary, because geofencing sounds too technical. Okay? Surveyors like to call a boundary, but this one is virtual boundary. Okay? Which means that you set a boundary virtually that nobody knows, but you went out of the boundary, it gives you, or when you came into the boundary, it triggers. So that's why it's interesting. For example, at 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock, just example, This is just an example that I put here. You want your kids, or I don't know, possibly your mate or whatever it is, to be at home. If at that time it's not within that region, you know, they went to Membawang somewhere or that sort of thing, you can trigger it. Okay? So this is just a way that we have in this system, which means that you can base on time and location as well. All right? Or you want your kids to play at the school from 7 to 12 p.m., 7 a.m. to 12, I don't know. I'm just giving an example here. So these are just having the kids within a certain boundary that it doesn't, or I'm not talking about kids, but anything of interest to monitor within a certain boundary that virtually nobody sees, but you can see in the system. And of course, in our system, this depends on different systems. Our system, once you break the rules, okay, there are more rules. Beside the boundary, there are more rules and the time. It automatically alerts 4 peoples or 4 wives or whatever 4 connections. Okay? So this is the thing that possibly that of interest. Please don't send to 4 policemen because it will be confusing. So now the numbers is just 4 numbers that will be allocated in the system, so you can send to any 4, either the parents or the mothers or the sisters or the neighbors, whoever it is. But they will be automatically sent. Right, let's see how it works. Let's say we have our kids or our beloved parents having our kids maybe or having some autism, or our beloved parents having Alzheimer, or in bahasa Malaysia it's called nyanyok. Okay, itu bahasa glamour, Alzheimer tu. Then we equip them with handphones, or you want to have more better, you have a watch, a nice watch. Okay, these are all just gadgets that's going to monitor them. There are so many types of watch. There are some of that you can don't even have a watch, just a chip inside your pocket. So many now in the markets. So it can trigger too many things. If a woman is in, not only women, sometimes men as well, in panic situation, they could be attacked, you can press a SOS button. It's available. Okay? So you can have a panic button. As I said, the virtual boundary, if you exceed the virtual boundary, or you come into a certain boundary, okay, you can either, okay, sometimes you set a boundary so that you don't go out. Sometimes you set a boundary so that people don't come in. Okay? So it also trigger. Or sometimes you want the thing to move, but it doesn't move. Like a truck, a vehicle. You know? A vehicle, when it moves around the highway, suddenly it stops. It's okay, it's highway. But it moves around the road, sometimes it stops for a long time, then you have to monitor. Okay? So usually these are motion move. So if it stops for more, I mean, you have to tell the driver, if you're going to go to the toilet, no more than 20 minutes. If more than 20 minutes, it will alert the whole system. Okay? So either, but usually this is because of either a case of smuggling or it's being somehow rather attacked. Check-in schedule. Schedule, as I showed just now, if it doesn't follow a certain schedule, then possibly where it should be, at 7 o'clock, the children should be at the school, but if not at the school, then it could also trigger. And two-way voice. All the connection have a voice, which means that it can speak as well to trigger, or the other party can also speak to him to trigger. So if that happens, it will trigger the attract central system. So as I said, it will alert 4 connections, possibly the parents, possibly the sisters, possibly the neighbors, or to a control center. Okay, which means that, for example, in the schools, if in the school they have a student with autism, at least, I don't know, in the teacher's room or the headmaster's room, you can see that one of the students is out of the gate, example. Okay? So this can happen as well.
Tuan, 5 minit lagi.
Okay, thank you. And of course, if this happens, you can trace back who are this person, where does it goes, and worst come to worst, you may like to track through the enforcement officers or even yourself. So these are just part of the how the system works. Simple, right? So just to summarize, basically, the features is time activation. Okay, you can have a schedule of every single day. You can alert to 4 smart device. Okay, it can track the movement history for the past days, past few days, or of course, it can also provide real-time monitoring. So this is just the real system is on your right that's running. Okay, you can set the systems, or you can see where it is. Okay, previous time, the virtual boundary that they have. Okay, and it can monitor many at one time. This is the control center. You can see many at one time. So usually we have red, green. Okay, green means is okay. Red means we have to see, we have to trace that person whether he is supposed to be there or not. The sort of thing. Right. So I hope everybody understood the system. So I'll just end up with the. Of course, this is been publicized as in the Sunday Times. We work with the Alzheimer societies. They are very pleased to have us. This is one of the author and my researcher, Ms. Ui. Okay. We also have in the system being monitored for. Now we also link to Wi-Fi. If you don't have, sometimes you don't have a GPS. You are inside indoor. Okay. The Wi-Fi location is sent. So although it's not accurate, but at least oh, he is in the shopping center. You don't receive GPS, but the Wi-Fi doesn't have to connect, doesn't have to join, or doesn't have to, as long as it's connected to Wi-Fi, it can be sent the location of the Wi-Fi. So at least that, he's in the shopping complex. All right? So I think, yeah, this is just, actually, what I'm trying to show is not my face. That's the prize that we win in Madrid, okay? Which is basically, this is the, yeah, that's the prize, okay? So this has been have 2 awards. One is the GNSS Challenge in Manila, as well as a special prize award winner for innovative product by the European Satellite Navigation Competition. So thank you very much.